Thank you so much again for joining us. We felt it important to do this gathering, and imagine yourselves in the living room of your home or the living room of a friend. If we had our druthers, we would create a circle, right? So that we could sit in a circle. But we have to use spaces that are available to us. And El Centro de Estudio Puerto Riqueño was kind enough to allow us to have the space. So we're very grateful for that. But we always have to think about how we structure our realities, and our realities should be in a circle so that we can see each other, we can exchange spirit in a way that isn't this sort of dynamic of someone speaking to you. So that if we're in a circle, we're speaking to each other. So know that this is an interactive conversation, which we felt was necessary because we see that a lot of issues are arising in terms of anxiety, in terms of depression, in terms of feeling that we're not enough, to use the title of Gloria Rodriguez's book, right? That we're not enough and somehow something is missing. And we felt it important to look at the tradition, right? The Yoruba tradition, particularly in terms of how tradition helps us navigate and discuss those issues that are within our communities. And also to understand that tradition doesn't do it all. And sometimes there needs to be outside assistance and other levels of assistance and experiences that will inform how we move forward. So that this is an open conversation. We have a facilitator starting the conversation, and we have scheduled, I think, enough time for an interactive conversation, because we know that there are many people in the audience who are expert in these traditions as well. So the idea is not that we are the authorities here and you're not the authorities there. The idea is, again, that we're in a circle and we're exchanging information and gathering as family. I'd like to call up Baba John Mason, who will start with libation and giving honor to those who came before us, and then we will start the program. Thank you.
My wife always complains about me having a loud voice, so I can't imagine in a room this small you won't hear me. At least at this point, when I get there, there'll be a mic that'll help us. Thank you all for coming out. This is quite a surprise, this many people showing up. Okay, I'll hold it too. All right. Valerie was wrong. After 40 years, I'm glad to say she's wrong. Anyway, but thank you for coming out. Hopefully you will be, and I will be, and all of us will be informed by this exchange. In traditional manner, before we begin, I like to just pour a little cool water so that we can invoke a little ancestral guidance and divine guidance, so that what we say and what we think will be guided and will be informed. Thank you. Tutu la roye, tutu bobo Orisha, tutu bobo egun, tutu bobo erumale, kosi ku, kosi arun, kosi eyo, kosi ofu, kosi ona, kosi akoba, kosi fitibo, kosi araye, aiku, babawa. Ago, bobo egun, bobo Orisha, bewa, bewa, bewa. To, bobanecho.
I'd just like to inform you that we're live streaming. It's directly to the panel, so that I know there are Yawos in the audience, so that you don't have to worry about being filmed, because we're not filming.
You'll see anything from this light.
Okay. Did you hear me? Good. So we're not filming the audience at all. We're just filming directly to the panel, so that no one will be appearing. And others outside of us will have the opportunity to share in the conversation.
You know, I was influenced greatly by two of my teachers. We're going to turn these lights out because you won't be able to see the slides. These rooms are so automated that they don't work by human control. Okay. Can everybody see that? Yes. Fine. Okay. I was influenced by two teachers, as I was saying. Many moons ago, I was in a graduate program, and I had designs on going directly to a PhD. And I had a trio of professors who were my advisors. One was Professor Rosen, who I never forgot. He would come in. I took Russian history with him and Eastern European history. And he would walk in with a sheet of paper and a pencil sometimes, and just roll history, names, dates, telephone numbers, color of socks. And I had something at that time, I don't know if it's still there, of a photographic memory. So one day he saw me and he said, "Mason, I never see you take notes in my class." He said, "Can I see your notebook?" I had one big notebook that went through all the years of college. And he said, "That one book is for all your years in school?" I said, "Yeah, I remember it. And if I can't remember it, I'll jot a note just to help me." And he said, "Wow." So I was impressed that he was impressed. The second person was Bob Thompson. His shoot from the hip, informed manner stuck. And I've known him for close to 50 years. And I'm still impressed. We trade accolades as to who is who. And I tell him, I said, on a good day, I still got to catch you. So that I had something written because I'm getting to the point now where I write everything down in long form because I'm thinking in terms of books and courses that I hope to give, books that I hope to have published. And it doesn't make sense just to keep a jotting of an idea. So that when Martha called me, I had to think about where would I insert this data, this specific look about Ori. And I had already developed a paper, a large paper, dealing with sacred space. And there's a whole nother argument based on that, but I felt that this is where this belongs. And if you look, you see it, I'm dealing with 4 language groups. Because the Yoruba are one, but you have the Fon, you have the people from the Afo, the Afik, and you have the Kikongo, or the Congo languages. 4 major languages that we, and when I say we, in the diaspora embrace and own and play with. So that if we're going to look at ideas and how those ideas go across the spectrum of our belief systems, because they're all based in the same language group, the Kwa-Niger grouping. So from one language stem, all of these other dialects have evolved. They're related in many ways, and when you look at them at a deep level, as I try to do, and other scholars who are linguists or deal with linguistics, we look at that because it's key to us understanding what it was our ancestors were thinking, and what were they aiming at, and what were they trying to construct as tools for us to use. So that here, we look at where is Ori in this constellation of ideas. When you look at the rainbow, and you say Oshumare, this round, brilliant glow, because it's round in the sense that is meant to be seen as going through the earth, through water, coming back and meeting itself. So this idea of continuum, that we are part of a continuum, of a multicolored spectrum of beings, of spirit beings, that we are like the serpent, the grand serpent, that comes and catches its tail, that can fit in something as small as a teacup and be as wide and long to encompass the universe. This idea of fractal imaging, I was talking to my dear friend, Milton Graves, and we've known each other a long time. You start knowing people a long time. You start saying 40 and 50 years like it's okay. And you wonder, where did that time go? And Milton, we were talking about, Milford said, he said, Mason, you gotta look at this thing with fractals. And we were thinking about it from musical points, but then we took it further than that. And I said, wow, we gotta look, because something that our systems, your Ori is in this, don't worry, I'm getting there, is about this construct of collapse and expand. Collapse and expand. Sometimes you need to collapse. You need to, there's a saying that I'm guided by. It says, when the door is closed, one must learn to fit under the sill. This is from Odu. But it's certain statements are pivotal in certain people's lives. In my life, that's pivotal, because it means you must drop your ego. You must rethink the obstacle, because sometimes you can't go through the door. You have to go under it. You have to go over it. You have to go around it. And even when the door should be open, even when people should be humane and wonderful, it doesn't guarantee that they will be. And if you don't reconstruct your thinking, you're going to be a sad sack, sitting there crying and berating your time and, well, how did they betray me? It's like, forget that. Become small and go under the door. So that when you resize and you show up inside the room, it's like in that movie, The Limits of Power. And the guy says, how'd you get in here? He said, with imagination. That's what Ori is. The ability to shrink and to enlarge, but with imagination. Because then nothing can stop you. Nothing can destroy you. So that construct is set into architectural design. It's set into the painting of Ori, of head. It says, because it keeps telling you, it's a lesson. Initiation is a point of lessening. How do you learn that those concentric circles represent valences of power? You have to know how to become little, how to become big, how to become bigger than the room you're in, than your adversary, or to become smaller than your adversary. See, because there's no, people say, well, don't you care about that? I said, no. I only care about getting on the other side of that obstacle. And if it means I have to humble myself, then you don't understand the art of war. See, this is the art of war before the art of war was written by Lao Tzu. Think about that now. And I know how old we're talking. So that you have to understand how old this thinking construct is. That Ori is being informed, but it informs everything that we do. How do you build your house? How do you build your village? How do you set up your constellation of friends and your constellation of enemies? It's not only your friends that you want in constellation, but you want to know where those bad planets are too. Okay, so that you know when to shrink and when to enlarge. So that now we go to the second slide, if I could figure out how. press the space button? Space? Yeah, let me not mess up the whole thing. I just want to go to 2. There we go. Got it? Ah, see how wise you are. Okay. I'm not going to belabor this because this could go on. This is quite advanced thinking in the sense of how do we show this? The Yoruba in West Africa, in southwestern Nigeria, and in the environs of that, their neighbors who were influenced by their philosophy and psychology and technology decided on, we need a physical representation. We need something that shows what Ori is. What is that inner being which can enlarge and contract, which can grow as big as a house, as big as a mountain, and as small as a cricket? What is that thing? How do we describe it? Well, for the Yoruba, a very mercantile people, if I do say so, they describe it in terms of money. Those are money calories. And some people say in the old days there was a specific number. It was only 41 sacred numbers, but this has more than 41, as you can see. This is from my own house. It's not my Ori. It's not my Ori container, but it was one that I used as a teaching tool to show people and to show my students exactly what it is that the Yoruba were constructing. This pinnacle idea, this idea of the pyramidic shape, you gotta get these teeth to work, was what they were going after. The idea that everything has a top knot. Everything has an extension. Among the Chinese, I remember years ago when I studied martial arts, and my Korean instructor, he said, Mr. Mason, I noticed that your head, you have ridges, that your centerpiece comes up. He said, that is very good. It is the sign of whatever. He gave me a great compliment. But it means that your chi, or ashe, has ballooned, has grown. That your head has expanded, your intellect and your ability to see has expanded. Well, this is what this top knot means. This piece here says, hey, guess what? What is the idea? To expand your knowledge, to expand your ability to think, and not only to think, but to reach. That when you command things to be, that you can bring things into being. You can bring people into being. You can call people from afar, and they say, damn, John, I was thinking about you. I said, yeah, I needed to talk to you. I really needed to talk to you. It's when you can take that, because it's where Ori is. If you can see it, it can be. Which we will see in a minute when we get to definitions. But then the Yoruba say, well, guess what? I want to build a container for myself to represent what I look for in life. That's what the Ile Ori, the house of the head. Now, that's a very rich one. It was right in Brooklyn, actually. I saw it at the East years ago, and the guy said, I said, wow, who the hell made that? And it was sitting there, and he was selling it. He didn't know what it was. So I said, you mind if I take a picture of that? He said, sure, Babalorisha, take a picture. What is it? I said, it's a house with a head. But where the heck did you get it? And who sold their house? But that's another story. The point is, you build the house according to your means. According to your means and according to your vision of who you can be. Because like anything, we have children with the hope they will be. We get married on the hope that it will be. I was joking with my wife the other day and with a dear friend in Brooklyn, and we were talking about, there was me and this other gentleman, we were complaining about our wives. So my wife always says, you tell people this stuff? I said, every chance I get. And so the point came around, I said, but you know something? He said, oh, you're lucky to have her. I said, yeah, and she's lucky to have me. I said, because with all the nagging and all the bitching and all the griping, she picked me. And after 40-some years, something works. It's what you envision building, is what the Divinity Ori is. Because if you can't see what it is you would like, you can't have it. You can't build it. Why? Because you have no vision, you have no imagination. The Yoruba knew this 5,000 years ago that we can count on. All right, this is before Egypt. I hate to tell you that, but let's not get into that. Next slide. Just press this. Oh, there's another one over there. Oh, good. Now, just wanted to give you something to read, because they say, well, damn, he's talking so fast. Small cowries, what they call owoeo, are strung together in the shape of a crown, because that's what that is. It's a crown, ade. That crown, that thing that shows your arrival, because that's what ade means. See, day, to arrive, it's the thing that shows that you have come about, you have come into being, that you have come into yourself, that you wear a crown. It is kept in an Divinity Ori house with a head, a container as large and ornate as the owner can afford. It is destroyed when the owner dies and the cowries is spent. See, this doesn't get inherited. It's like, it's only for you. When you're done, you're done. So get it done while you can. Ori, this is where we need to, because I deal with linguistic pursuits, and it says, what is re? It's not just head. That's the euphemism for, oh yeah, Ori, your head. Yeah, no, it's actually the thing that sees. It's a seer. And I use that word seer so that you understand it's seer. It's not just seen here, it's seen everywhere. It's the thing that if you're a diviner, if you're anybody, everybody has the ability, if nurtured, if developed, to see. My teacher used to say, he used to go up to the Spanish Museum, and he was an expert on Velázquez and Goya. And he would go in and he would look at all the stuff, and he would say, fake, fake. And the curator would come running, Cristobal, but what do you see? He says, you can look at what I look at, but you can't see what I see. He said, the paint strokes are wrong. That's how much he knew Goya and how much he knew Velázquez even better. So that this idea of seeing is the first point of liberation. Can you see it? It's seeing the bull in the bull. Crap. I won't curse. I got told I shouldn't curse. Anyway. But it's also, Ori is the exhibitor of appearance, because it's what you see. And that sometimes can be misleading. You know, I have a bad voice. I say things and people take it the other way, says, boy, that's a hard guy. I said, I didn't mean it that way. But you asked me to tell you the truth, I told you the truth. But this guy was coming here, and I asked the guy to move over in the bus. I said, well, go in. He said, nah, man, I want to sit on the edge. I said, yeah, but I can't fit in there. And he said something, he said, well, I didn't like the way you said it. Now, usually, that would lead to some very bad language, because I'm not afraid of there are very few people I'm afraid of physically. But you get older and you say, what the heck? I said, so what do you want me to do? Kiss you? And 3 people on the bus moved. Oh shit, this old man is crazy. I said, what the fuck's the matter? Excuse my friend, you know, what's the matter with you? Anyway, so that don't let the gray hair fool you. When you get older, and you watch how people put you in a different category, and you realize you're looking at the wrong person. But you look at children, and children see. So I told a little kid with his mother one day, and the kid kept looking, and he looked like behind me. I said, you see him too, huh? And the kid looked at me and he said, yeah. And the mother's like, what the hell are you two talking about? And I didn't even explain. I said, don't worry. I said, you're okay, kid. I said, see, you can see. I said, but that's for later. That's what Ori is. The exhibitor of appearance, the obtainer. Your Ori is what gets you what you get. It obtains for you. And if you don't train it to do that, well, you don't get nothing. Ori is chosen in our room. So this is where the Yoruba get fatalistic. See, don't cry to me about, oh God, and even I have to tell myself every once in a while, quit crying. I read a lot of poetry, and I wrote this blues. I said, I have no right to sing the blues, because I win much more often than I lose. And that's the real truth. The blessings that I got and hope to keep getting, and that we all have, we have to recognize before we cry, before we complain, and if you complain, do something about it. Right. If it's not to your liking, build a better one. Make it better. That's what Ori is about. Ori, the Yoruba tell you, you pick this life. See, this is you and God. It's not God saying, hey, you're gonna be a dog. No, dog and God got together and said, I want to be a dog. Now that's a Yoruba construct, but it's a fatalistic idea because it says, then stop the complaining. If this is the lot you have selected, get with it. Make it better, fix it. Now the problem is we don't teach enough of our kids and other people about how that's done. And to accept and to work on it, because people want everything now 2 days after it's been. It's like, wait a minute, so you think you're gonna be famous tomorrow? I've been a musician 53 years. And you get other musicians that come up and they think, hey man, it's like, no, forget that. And I'm better than you. And they're like, oh, you ain't supposed to say that. I said, well, sue me. And he's better, and she's better, and they're not eating off the golden plate. So now get in line. That's Ori. It says you want to obtain, you got to obtain for it. I know, I'm coming. Oh, I got time. Okay. Ori is bound to Ipin, Ayanu, which is your fate and your destiny. There are 2 of them. See, you're not here by yourself. That little voice that talks to you, that's Ori, Oru. There's a spiritual, we are spiritual beings that happen to experience this physical incarnation. But when we're done with this, we're gonna turn into vapor again and wait for the next train, the next visit to whatever environment, whatever reality. And hopefully, Ori goes with, well, not hopefully, Ori goes with us, but hopefully we've taken the lessons of this incarnation with us. And we do it better the next time. That we do it better, because that's the premise of living. That from the Yoruba point of view, this is about how do we perfect ourselves? How do we perfect our being? That the next time, we cannot be an ass the next time too. You know, it's like, God darn, how many times you're gonna kick the same cow and think you're gonna get cream? Bad planning. I wanted to, this is part of a Oriki for Ori that's published in the book Adura. I brought a couple of copies of the book for those who are interested. But I just wanted to show you the thinking. It says, Ori mi apuede. It says, my head. We run to invite goodness. In other words, it says we. It's a dual structure. It's a dual reality that you have to think that you are with yourself involved in this process of running after good. This is not something that you're waiting for good to come and fall out of the sky on you, or you're waiting for whoever it is that's going to die to give it to you. No, you have to run after it. You have to chase it down. So it says, Asakaiwe. It says we run to count children. Why? And children, ewe, is the word, but even though children for the Yoruba is the most immediate sense or symbol of value, of immortality. When I'm gone, my children, hopefully, will continue. That they will continue, that they will have learned, that they will inherit that what my wife and I have put together for them, what we have tried to instruct them in, and what it is that they will then be able to take with them as they forge forward and produce children and more children. That it's the forward motion of our families, of our history, of our friends and associates, that this is what we are counting. It's just not children, but whatever we produce, your work, the books, the music, the whatever. But your children are the chief in that line of accomplishments. That we run after that. This is not something that we're going to take a stroll, that this is an exercise in exertion. Anybody who has children knows that. Oh yeah, I tell my kids in a minute, I said, you're lucky you're my children, because boy, I can see a couple of you being hurt. You wouldn't do that, Dad. Yeah, I would. But let's leave that alone. It says, you till the end of time support me. It's eternal that Ori is involved with you and Be to support you. It says Kale, but it's Be because it's a different play here. We're not going to get into the linguistics of this, but to support that. It's eternal support. This is not, if nothing else, and I'll give you a point. My teachers, we used to have a saying. You go to what they call that, in Brazil they call it xexé. You go to, here you go, and you go to when they do the funeral service, and you see the Orisha abandoning you. See, Shango don't go to the other side. It's like, oh, this is where I get off. Oshun don't go. My Orisha don't go. Who goes? Ori. Ori travels with me. My Orisha, this Ori, goes with me through eternity. Not all of it, but the crucial parts. They say that essential being that is you is always you. It's you today, it's you yesterday, it's you tomorrow. And that is what this means. That you till the end of time support me. Ori, you till the end of time will support me. You will be my champion. You will be the thing if properly taken care of, if properly tutored. Because there's a premise here. Orumaye, you always support being alive, because the idea of the other of suicide and all the other things that happen. I'm going to pass. Can I go back? No, that's all right. Don't worry about it. The leopard was just to show you what this idea of transformation. You want to become Ekun. It says, Baba Dekun, Iya Dekun Lo Neo, that father and mother become a leopard today. You become top of the food chain. That's the plan, to become top of the food chain. That you become like that leopard. Pound for pound, the greatest predator of all. Pound for pound, even it beats out the lion, and it beats out the tiger. It might not be as big, but see, tiger and lion can't carry a full antelope up into a tree. That's right, leopard. So that leopard is considered, it says, Baba Dekun, Iya Dekun, Lo Neo, that father became and mother became a leopard today. That's what initiation, that's where we begin. This idea of Ori. If you want to enhance your sense of being, you want to become top of the food chain. I told somebody once, I said, you know something? With all due respect to Barack and whoever, if he and I were on a desert island, he'd be picking coconuts. And people get like, how, you're so full of yourself. I said, wait a minute, I didn't say that I'm better. I said, but I know who I am. And he would know too. See, because see, this head is not for portage, as we say. See, I'm not the porter. So if you want coconut, son, since I'm older than you, I expect you're gonna go up that tree. Oh yeah, see, that's Ori. Doesn't matter, this is not about disrespect, it's about knowing who you are in reference to whoever the other person is. Doesn't mean you disrespect them, it doesn't mean that you think you're better than them, it means I don't do that.
Right.
Now, if you want it done, that's on you. Now, I'll help you, but I don't do that. That's where Ori comes in. And this last little thing, because we're going to stop here, and because it's too much. I told you, it's a full course. You go to Odu, and Odu tells you, it says you have, I took the first four. These are the first elders. Ejogbe, Oyeku, Iwori, Odi. That's the order in which that they are called. Their rank. But, as I told diviners, I said, what do you think? The Yoruba just spitting out words? See, Ori is intimately related to this. Ejiobe, he says, what's the first thing Ori must know? Support. To be supported. To be supported. Either you support yourself, but first after a baby learns to walk, first thing the baby knows is, where's mama's tit? See, who's gonna feed me? Who's gonna love me? That's big. Who's gonna support me? Who's gonna hold me? So that the first instinct is to catch yourself when you fall. This is Ogbe. The second is Oyeku. I'm wearing the belt. I have a belt. And a lot of diviners, they're afraid. They said, John, how you wear a belt like that? I said, because this belt tells me, what's the second rule? After you know about supporting yourself, the second rule is avoid death. Oyeku. Avoid death. The avoidance of death is number 2. See, everything else is bull crap after that. Because if you're dead, the game is over. Ori knows that. So they gotta wait for the next train. Damn. No, it says first know, protect yourself, support, stand up, don't fall. That's why Orisha people don't fall, supposedly. The idea is that's why you wear in certain ceremonies. They drop certain things and they'll tell you, pick it up. Why? Because that thing can fall, but you shouldn't be in it when it falls. That's the point. That's what Bay is. This message comes from Odu. Then we go to Iwori. It says it's the seer. Again, Ori, Iwo, the seer that embeds. Now what does that mean, to embed? That means you make your mark. You make your mark. After you learn to stay alive, you make a mark in this world. like Shango. That's why this is Shango's order. It says, I made a mark, didn't I? You ain't gonna forget me now. I tell people, my friend Puntilla, he was a special guy in a certain way. But I told him once, I said, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something, John. Puntilla, I'm John Mason. And Puntilla, I said, remember this. There's before you and there's after you. Because before you, the world was different. When you came here, you made the world a new world. There's Mata Vega. There's before Mata and whatever after. But the world ain't the same. That's Ori. It's knowing that you embed, you leave a mark. Whether it's your friend or enemy, doesn't matter. That guy says, man, that son of a gun, I remember him, I remember her, I remember them. You remember them. Why? Because they've left a mark. And then the last thing, OD. It says you must know what to block. Because that's what it really means, block. But it means it's more than block. It means you must know what to protect. See, because you protect your children. You protect the institutions you build. You protect whatever it is that's worthy of protection. And what do you block them from? Quickly and last, you block them from Osogbo. Yes. What is Osogbo? For years, nobody knew what it was but I'm a linguist. So it says, that which ties up getting old. Fruitfulness, it ties up fruitfulness. You want to block all of that. You want to block Ibi, which is the other euphemism for it, which is misfortune. You want to block depression. You want to block the Ajogun, which are the wages of war against mankind. That's what your head is for. Death, sickness, loss, etc. That's what you're trying to block. Eru, fear. You have to block fear sometimes. Sometimes you get afraid of stuff. And then you realize it's only the dark. When I was a kid, things used to come and talk to me and touch me. And then I got things happen that helped me liberate from that. So now people say, how can you, my wife come home, the house is black, and I'm sitting there by myself. And she said, you will have no lights on in 4 floors? I said, ain't nobody here but me. And them. And my mother told them what would happen if they messed with me. So that's fear, which leads to anguish. And I'm giving you the Yoruba, you can write all that down. Anxiety, drug addiction, suicide, and iwopao, it means you kill you. Yeah. See, everybody say, well, you had reasons for suicide. Give me a break. You kill you. You don't take that last step off the bridge. It'll just be a near miss. You take that last step, it's you looking for the bottom. And it's not the fall, it's the sudden stop. And what is it that Ori looks to do? It wants to create ifarabale, composure of mind. People think that it's only in Eastern cultures. Remember, Africans are Eastern people. Let's not get into that. Because we do have the idea of meditation. We have the ideas. Matter of fact, we were talking about this with somebody, a friend of mine, and Randy Weston. And Randy said, you know, I'm a blue. Blue is my color. So I waited, and I told him, I said, Randy, you know what you use blue cloth for? And I told him about different color cloths that you use to do different things. But it's mainly for mind development and mind development. And when I told him, he said, yeah, because he had been possessed. They had possessed him. They had gone through, and this is North Africa. He was off for a couple of weeks. And I said, yeah, that'll teach you. Blue is to see. Blue is for sight, but you better be careful as to what you want to see. Anyway, we will open this up to the panel because there's plenty. You got slides up the kazoo here, and it's not fair to go further. Yeah, we'll leave you with this slide because this is the point. Decorate the head. Make the head different. Mother and child going through initiation, the E.J. Boog did. And this is the Obatala Shrine, where you see Yemo Wo, she's the girthy one, and Oshanla, the thinner one. Anyway.
Thank you, John. John is amazing. John is amazing. Thank you. You know Randy is 90.
Yeah.
I found out the other day. Unbelievable, 90.
I just saw Neil yesterday.
We have refreshments in the back while we're setting up for the panel. We will entertain 2 questions or 2 comments before we break. Is there a question?
Yeah. Good afternoon. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
You're welcome. I would like to know, is it necessary to have a physical house for your Ori? So in other words, do you need to have an implement in your home, or can you just work with your own spirit?
Well, let me tell you, every place that Orisha people went in the Americas, certain baggage had to be left on the train, so to speak, on the plane or on the boat, or at home. They, for whatever reason, it was subsumed. And I've had this conversation on a few continents with African descendants like myself. And we've discussed this, and people who knew and who know, because my Stella's still alive, she didn't know more than me by a long shot. And the point was, certain things had to be let go of. Too much baggage can be a problem because it gives people a visible target. So that to say, okay, Orisha, this becomes Ori. They fix the head. They have symbols that everything is worked through the head. And it's in that manner that everything else is sort of extra. You'll see beautiful shrines, and people will pay a specific attention to their Orisha. So that people, if they come to my anniversary, for years I didn't celebrate, and then people say, happy anniversary. And I'd say, what are you doing? I'm working, and you're interrupting me. And thank you. Thank you. Then you got to the point where my godchildren got on they say, hey, you got to bring Obatala. So he said, well, I bring only Obatala and that shoe down. And they're like, well, where's the rest of your Orisha? I said, they're upstairs. I didn't make them. I'm a priest of Obatala. The rest of them are just guests. But I'm not getting too sacrilegious. The reality is, where Ori comes in, is that you put that energy into your Orisha, into the manifestation that it's your identification. Who are you identified with? I'm identified with Obatala. So that when you go upstairs into the shrine and you say, well, wow, he's got a lot of stuff, or, it seems like he's more adorned than the others. It's like, yeah, because that's where I'm affiliated, okay? That's the priesthood in which I was initiated to, so that, fine. And I see this across the board. You go to Trinidad, you don't have that in Trinidad. You don't have it in Haiti, you don't have it anywhere. They try to reestablish it, which is fine with me. I have no problem with anybody rethinking, whatever. The problem is for what? I always ask that. Is this more furniture? and it doesn't go to the essential nature of what we need to do. People have a lot of furniture and no house to put it in.
All right. All right.
Anybody else?
One last comment, sir?
Thank you for sharing that experience, and I guess it's maybe more of a comment and to add to what my sister said. The men who traveled to Nigeria, I would ask that same question and found that the lineages will have different explanations. There's a particular lineage that said, why would you need an Ori house when you already have it? You just need to come here and develop it. And then you have some lineages say, oh, you need to receive Ori. Again, I think the most important thing is just what you said. Don't bring something in and it becomes another piece of furniture and you still don't take care of it.
Well, let me tell you, let me just sort of add to that. We do have Ori, and there are specific times when a diviner is working, and you will tell somebody, it will come up and it says, okay, like, you know, it's not here. It's there in Ogunda Meiji is where Ori is prescribed. All right, and then Obe Ogunda is where in our room. So in other words, and there are other places. Let's not get into that. We'll be here all night. But the point is, there are specific places where Ori is discussed and in depth. The problem is, even in Ogunda Meiji, it doesn't say every person that this falls for, in every situation you need to build. Okay? Because it depends on the situation. What is it that the person needs to do? Some people, they need to, it's like, you know, you need to be able to get up in the morning and have a discipline, a regimen. So he says, okay, do you get up and some people have to get up and do 50 push-ups or whatever the hell it is. Why? Because if they don't do that, they're going to be off. Now the next person gets up and goes to do what they do. Everybody has a different pill, a different medicine that they need to take. Ori is just one medicine. There are so many Orisha, so many things that empower. But you need to know, is this for you? The idea that it's universal. Everybody in this room needs Ori here, right? Everybody here has Ori. It's like telling somebody, oh, you need to receive Ashe. I told, wait a minute, this has actually happened at a funeral, and somebody called in, tell John he's got to remove the Ashe. So I didn't say, I said, shut up, John. This will get nasty. So I pointed out, I said, excuse me, how can I remove something that nobody in this room could give? And we're talking initiation. You don't give Ashe. Ashe is the birthright of each of us. So how do you give something, how do you take something back that you never gave anybody? But people come up with all kinds of solutions without knowledge. Thank you.
Part of this, and this is the first of a series, we hope, is for our communities to become enlightened and not get abused. John, Paolo, a few of us, Gloria and I, have been having conversations about people not understanding what the system is and allowing themselves to be abused. And this is about understanding the power that you have and the power that you have to heal our communities and work within our communities for the social good of what we need as a people. It's not to have it in the closet. It's to make it work, to operationalize the process that we have gone through as a people. And if we're all survived when we weren't supposed to survive, then we have a responsibility. And you have to think about what the responsibility is. As John says, we each come with a gift, and how do you make that gift work? And what's the ground on which you stand to do what you need to do?